Welcome to the last panel of the day, Driving Performance Through Strategic Workforce Transformation. Our distinguished panel comprise experts in the field, and they will share their insights and perspectives. Let me introduce our panelists, Dr. Yang Fan, Dr. Geraldine Wong, Mr. Jerald Jiang, and our moderators, Dr. Ai Xin and Mr. Zaid Hamzah. I pass over the time to our two moderators.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks very much for your attendance. This session is kind of unique because there are two moderators, right? So Dr. Ai Xin, myself, we're both from NUS, but I'm from industry, right? And I'm currently an Executive Education Fellow at the Advanced School for Computing at the School of Computing, NUS. Now, before I invite the panel, right, to share their views on issues that we have crafted out for today's session, I wanted to give you a flavor of what we will be covering today, right? The kind of issues and the context in which we are going to set out our discussion today. Now, when we first conceptualized the topic, we were very clear on one single objective, which is we wanted to share with you real-world, practical experience, right? Based on the organizational experiences of Visa, right? Income insurance, as well as GXS Bank, right? Now, we hope there'll be a lot of interaction with the audience. And our single mission at the end of the day is to share with you insights, practical tips, including issues and challenges that these three respective organizations have encountered in their AI journey. Now, we've chosen the topic driving performance for one simple reason. At the end of the day, when we talk about reskilling or strategic workforce transformation, the end game is still the same, right? Which is it has to be focused ultimately on value delivery that results in higher performance. Now, this is the overriding theme for today. So it's about reskilling, workforce transformation, practical experience and tips that they have, that the respective organizations have done. Then how do we ultimately drive higher performance? Now, I will also be inviting my panelists to share a little bit about their organization so that you can understand in context. Now, although three of them represent very large organizations, we have also agreed that the learnings that they can share should benefit the SMEs in our midst today, right? So with this in mind, I am going to start the session by first inviting Jerald, right? And each of the panel will respond to the same question that we'll be talking, that I'll be sharing with you now. And we will share each of the panelists' view on the same question that I'm posing so that we get a bit a complete and holistic picture. So, Jerald, I'm going to start first with you. Now, different organizations today are at very different, stages of AI adoption. They are at very different levels of AI maturity. Could you start off the panel session, Jerald, by walking through Visa's AI journey, right? What were some of the issues and challenges in the context of AI adoption? What were the specific pitfalls that you have experienced? Then share your insight with our audience today. Over to you.
All right, a very good afternoon to everyone. And first of all, I would like to thank the NUS ICT Academy for the invite to be on the panel today. All right, before I get started to talk about Visa's AI journey, I just want to set the context of what Visa does. So with a quick show of hands, how many of you think Visa is a credit card company. Okay, I can see that's the majority. Well, that's not exactly true. So what happens is that Visa does not issue credit card, nor do we extend credit line. It is the banks, the financial institutions who are issuing the card, and that's why they charge you the annual fee. All right, so for Visa, what we do is that we are a payments technology company. We provide the technology, the network to connect the merchants, the consumers, as well as the governments across more than 200 territories and countries. And we enable the movement of money across all these important players in the economy. You can think about Visa somewhat like, as an analogy, we play the role of the cardiovascular system for the economy. And we help to enable the movement of money across the different players so that each of them can perform their important function. All right, so to the question, in terms of Visa's journey for AI, I would say that the answer is very simple. Visa is all in on AI. And we believe AI should benefit individuals, businesses, and economies. In fact, our journey started much earlier. Back in 1993, Visa has used AI model for risk and fraud management. And more recently, over the last 10 years, Visa has invested $3 billion on AI and data infrastructure. And currently, we have over 100 products and solutions that is powered by AI. And in fact, recently we also announced a $100 million Gen AI venture initiative that will invest in the next generation companies to come up with more innovative solutions. If we look at individual employees' perspective, what does it mean for them? We have made available what we call universal AI tools to all employees in Visa. For example, we have an internal version of secure chat GPT that runs on the GPT-4 model, and it is available to all employees. At the same time, we also have the Microsoft Copilot M365. That means the Copilot for Teams, Office, Outlook, Word, PowerPoint. This is also made available to all employees so that they can be more productive in work. And for our employees in specialized function, so for example, if they are a software developer, we have also made available the Copilot, the GitHub Copilot for all software developers in Visa. And this helps them to be able to script and write codes more efficiently. And for our colleagues in cybersecurity function, we have the security Copilot that will help them to secure our systems and tools. So this is the current landscape of the Gen AI and AI adoption in Visa. If you ask about the challenges that we face, if you look at the employee population for Visa, we have about 30,000 employees globally. So I would say that the key challenge is really to how do you ensure that everybody is upskilled and is able to effectively make use of all the tools we have made available to them so that they can leverage on the latest technology to deliver their work, to be more productive, and to come up with innovative solutions. So which is why one of the things that we did at the very beginning of this year is a global Gen AI hackathon. This is unlike the usual hackathon that lasts for 2 or 3 days. Instead, it is a 2-week global event. I will call it a Gen AI festival that promotes learning, promotes idea generation, and collaboration. So across the 2 weeks, we have invited numerous experts, both internal and external, to come and share with us the latest on AI. And Zaid, you remember that you were one of our experts, and your session around AI and the implications on the payments industry was very well received. In fact, over 300 Visa employees attended the session. All right. So at the end of the hackathon, we had a total of 6,000 employees who took part in the hackathon. And this comprises not just employees in tech, we also had employees in other functions like HR, marketing, legal. And so we open this up to everybody, regardless of whether you know coding or not. And so this really enables us to come up with fresh ideas and new perspectives. In fact, we let 1,000 flowers bloom, and at the end of the hackathon, we had over 2,000 new ideas that has been generated. Some of these ideas continue to be developed as a new tool or solution for our employee or our customer. All right? And I think what's more important about the hackathon is that it has energized the entire workforce about the usage of AI and the benefits that it brings to the company.
All right, thanks very much, Gerald. Okay, I would invite you, if at any point you have any specific question, just start to key in the question. We are monitoring it, right, on our tablet. I now like to invite Dr. Geraldine Wong to share the experiences from GXS Bank, and she'll begin with a short introduction about the organization. Thanks.
Hi. I'm Geraldine. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with the GXS Bank, just like what Gerald was asking. I'll do a poll here. Are you familiar with the GXS Bank? Wow, I see some nods. Thanks a lot. I hope you have an account with us. We're one of the four. Full digital bank licenses that was given by MAS back in 2020. I joined around the time of October 2020, so before the licenses was given, one of the early founding members of the team. And by virtue of me being there as one of the first few, you would see the importance that data and AI brings to the organization. In fact, today, I would say that on a quarterly basis, our board actually have a standing agenda of AI. They are very interested and very keen to know how AI is being used within the organization. And why? Because unlike Gerald, we are not a very big company in Singapore and in Malaysia. So not many resources. We have to use technology, AI, to really automate a lot of things that in banks, in insurance companies like Dr. Yang Fund's organization would have resources for. So we're not so lucky, unfortunately. But the good thing is that we get to explore the AI initiatives to be used in the organization. And like what Gerald have said, I think we've also tried to adopt AI in many facades of the organization. Last year, we had, as Gen AI became more apparent in the organization, we set up something called a Gen AI steering committee. Lots of prototypes were being submitted into that committee. That committee is meant to provide guidance, strategic oversight as well. And in this year, we actually zoom in on a few production type projects that we want to take on. I think there are two ways that we're looking at it for Gen AI adoption. One is what we call, you have to have a build versus a buy. What do you want in the organization to really build yourself, to have those assets in your organization? And it takes some guiding principles as well to think about what you want to build strategically in your organization versus, buying like a co-pilot, for example, that most engineering teams would use a co-pilot for. So those were the thought process that went through our head in the steering committee to come down and streamline to what we want to focus on. For many of the projects that we have adopted, it needs to have a business sponsor. To Zaid's point about value of the projects, I think if a business sponsor is not on one of these projects, I do not take off and deliver those projects as well. And I think it's really important that when we present to the board, it's a unified voice about aligning those matrix of success. Easy to say, but hard to do as well. And with what Jerald said about hackathons, we have also done one hackathon earlier this year, not global, but in 3 countries. 23 ideas, over 100 participants. And from those 23 ideas, that's where we actually came together and actually finalized what are the projects that we want to take forward. And surprisingly, I was very amazed by the level of maturity in many of the staff that were non-tech. So people from legal, from compliance, somehow they all picked up skills on their own, or will be, harassing some of my guys or the tech folks to learn more on the side. And this is a very encouraging sign that I see in the organization, that many people are passionate and they take their own time out of their own free time to actually learn about this. Now, of course, let's all bed of roses, but there should be also some challenges. And I think some of the challenges that we probably would, maybe as a cloud native organization, we don't face as much as organizations that have their tech stack on-prem and have to spin off something. But we still do have our own set of challenges. For example, having skill sets that need to be retrained. I think there's a recruitment of talent. Everyone would echo this, the transitioning of skill sets from how data analysts used to do their work to how Gen AI will augment in their day-to-day work as well. I think the second challenge that I would say is, even as we deploy some of these production-grade projects, today, I haven't actually seen, unless my panel here could advise me, a holistic testing framework that meets regulatory standards as well. So you can test the whole ocean like you like as well, but what are the safety guardrails that needs to go through the rigorous testing? We have done through many rigorous testing, but would like to have a more, how should I say, standardized framework to do the testing as well. Yeah, that's all for me, thanks.
Thanks very much. Okay, before I invite Dr. Yang Fang to share her experiences, right? I'm so encouraged by all the questions. So, my dear moderator, you just let Gerald see some of the questions that you just get ready. Okay, I'm going to now invite Dr. Yang Fang to share income insurance experience. So we've got your questions. We're going to answer them after this round one. Over to you.
Thank you, Zaid. Okay, I will also introduce income insurance a little bit, just in case you don't know, but I think income insurance has been there long enough that it should be known by everybody. Income insurance was established in 1970, really long history. We are the leading composite insurer, selling almost all lines of business, all lines of insurance to Singapore, and include life, health, and general insurance. Okay, so back to AI and the AI journey in income. In fact, what AI journey, of course, started from before I joined income, but we did a big change at the beginning of last year. The big change is that there was a newly set up data office, so I'm heading analytics COE as part of the data office. When we set up the first few months, we actually relook at data analytics and AI strategy. So building analytics as a product as one of the strong pillars under this strategy. Well, similar as what Geraldine shared, I think she has a Gen AI community. We also established AI community. So in this AI community, we review and also prioritize all AI initiatives, including traditional AI. Nowadays, people call it traditional AI, and Gen AI. So the whole purpose is really to not only align our AI initiative with business objective, with enterprise technology platform, but also to build the AI culture in the organization, to continue to build AI culture in the organization. Of course, there are other building blocks. So I know Jerald shared a lot of use cases. Maybe my sharing is from a different angle, is what's going behind building these use cases. The other building blocks, besides strategy, besides community, besides culture, there are also infrastructure. There is also AI trust, AI governance. There is also talent development. Well, what we realize is that by having data office, by having analytics COE, we are not able to do it by ourselves. So I think in nowadays current world, nobody or no department, no units is able to do anything for the organization by themselves. So collaboration, cross-functional collaboration is our approach. So a few examples. We collaborate with our tech to design the sandbox. Because traditional AI, probably people are more familiar. They know what a sandbox should have. But for Jiang AI, what should a sandbox look like? And then we leverage on cloud services because, as Geraldine also shared, what to build, what to buy, right? So the large foundation models is not something that organizations like us want to build. So we want to leverage on the other foundation models that are already developed by big tech companies. Then cloud services is one of the options. Probably it's the main options. Then we also collaborate with our HR colleagues for the induction training, for the sharing sessions, so that we continue to build the awareness of AI, also build awareness of AI risk. So that's how we manage AI governance. And on AI governance, we also collaborate with our risk management office. So because risk, they are looking at model management in insurance company. Those models can cover a lot of other models other than AI, right? So financial models, actual models, but then we collaborate with them. We operationalize our AI governance. We look at, the AI, ethical AI principles together, that fairness, accountability, transparency, and fairness, accountability, explainability. Yeah, so we collaborated with all different functions to build our AI journey. Well, back to the challenges. I think we overcome some. We overcome, the alignment, collaboration, and we built a better culture, but it's never ending. I think the technology itself is evolving, and the challenges evolving too. So we can only say that we continue to strive and try to overcome more challenges when it comes. But then, we still have, for example, maybe challenges in talent. Are we completely solved that? I don't think so. We still have challenges in, how do we balance our day-to-day AI use cases with the new innovative AI use cases? How do we convince people to believe what we believe? Then back to Geraldine's point, is more of, to get more stakeholders aligned with us. We still have those challenges, but I think it's ongoing, and we will just continue to solve that when it comes. Yeah, that's my sharing.
Hey, thanks very much, Dr. Yang. The number of questions now have increased. Okay, so although we've more or less prepared some of the theme, right? I am actually going to respond to the question. I think it is a better way for us to interact. So I'm just going to ask, if the question is directed to you, can you just quickly respond to it, right? Because I want to cover as much questions as possible for today. So let's start with the first question directed to Dr. Geraldine, right? Can Dr. Geraldine share some of the aligned matrix of success? And this is a very important question. I want to highlight that this session is about value creation, it's about higher performance, and therefore, right, this issue relating to success matrix is extremely key. Okay, Dr. Geraldine, over to you.
Yeah, I'll just take maybe a very simple example that most people can relate to, marketing use cases, right? When we do customer acquisition, it's very important to look at conversions, and how we build those models for conversions is very important. How we do experiments is important. Across the marketing customer journey, when you go from screen to screen in an app, you collect those data points. Where you want to see the funnel drop-offs and conversions, I think those are some of the matrix of success that we look at, and how whether in a group of, I hope I'm not going too technical, but if you have done your statistics 101, your A/B testing test is basically what you would do. And the conversions across those two groups is something that we have to align on. And what is that percentage before it's a success for the model to go through? These are some of the very basic ones that we spoke about. Recently, I also had a challenge that was put up to me about news sentiment analysis as well, and this was also the relevance of how a news is to the stakeholders and how they would do their ranking of the relevance. I think we did a crowdsourcing of sorts. So these are some of just very basic matrix of success that it would be relevant to the stakeholders. But ultimately, conversions also mean how much amount those customer acquisition brings to me as well, what the fresh funds deposited to my accounts as opposed to the other group, a control group that doesn't bring in so much funds. So those are some of the success matrix. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, great. Thanks very much. Because there's so many questions, what I've decided to do is just post the next question to Gerald and Dr. Yang Fang, and then I will pass over to my co-moderator for the second theme that we're going to discuss today. Now, this question is directed both first Gerald, if you don't mind, rapid fire answer, and then of course followed by Dr. Yang Fang. So the question is, can you give an example of how AI is being used by your organization to increase profitability? And I think it's a very good question from the audience. This session is about value, better performance, including financial performance. So question, give an example of how AI is being used in your organization to increase profitability. So Gerald first, Dr. Yang Fang, then I'll hand over to my dear moderator for the second part. Go ahead.
Okay, so if you look at profitability, I think first of all, you have to start from the customer. And what does customer usually want? First, they want convenience. Second, security. Third will be availability. So when you use your Visa credit card, you'll be assured of all this, which is why you can use it in a very confident manner. I can give you one example whereby we have used AI to make our systems more secure. And this Visa product is known as Visa Advanced Authorization. And it uses AI models to prevent fraud from happening. So what happens is that every time you try to use your Visa credit card to pay for something, the transaction data is being routed through Visa's network. We have an AI in place to analyze each single transaction. And we will compare your transaction against your spending habits. So for example, where do you shop? When do you shop? Which companies do you normally go to? Which online merchants do you normally buy from? And with this set of information, the AI model is able to tell whether is this particular transaction, is it a low-risk transaction or is it a high-risk transaction? And in the event that this is a high-risk transaction, what happens is we could either flag it out for further review, or it could be rejected outright. And this is how we have helped to prevent fraud, and we protect both the merchant and the consumers, which is why I think through such products, it helps our customers to build confidence in Visa's product, and therefore it helps to increase our profitability.
So Dr. Yang Fang, over to you.
Profitability. Yes. Okay, I remember the keyword. Yes, sounds like my maybe comments from CEO. You know, how do you build AI to grow our business? I just now mentioned that our strategy is build analytics as a product. So this product, why we call it product? Because it has to serve objectives, right? So three main objectives. The top one is to grow business, is to grow the top line. Okay, second one is to manage the bottom line. Third one is the innovative. There's not in the sequence of priority, but then since now we are talking about profitability. So I think there are direct and indirect use cases. So direct use cases is because we are the composite insurance company, right? We're selling, our main business is to sell insurance to our customer. So how do we help our advisors? Because life and health insurance are still mainly sold by advisors. So through these human interactions, right? So there's trust built by the advisor and the customer. So how do we help advisor to sell the product? Directly, so what we do is that based on, our customers' information that we have, we identify who are the customers have the high propensity to buy a different product. So that's use our current customer base, because selling additional product to your existing customer, the cost is far less than acquiring a new customer. So I think in all the sales, area that everybody knows that. So that's how we help advisor. Then of course AI is running behind. then indirectly may not be happening at the point of sales. So indirectly, what you do is that advisor will meet their customers, right? Then customer will have all sorts of questions, like what your policy covered, and can I claim if this happens? Am I covered if I do this and that? So there are so many different scenarios. Previously, people used to complain insurance wordings and policy is so difficult to understand, right? I think nowadays it's no longer that case, but nevertheless, advisors still plays a very important role. But advisors, just imagine, especially for new advisors, they may not be equipped with that vast knowledge about all the products we sell. So we can build AI tools to help advisor when they are trying to explain this to our customers. It's like 24/7 fingertip tools for advisor. So this is another way, because no matter what we do, as long as we help advisor in this journey, in the way we are helping us to grow our profitability. Of course, this is just examples. There are so many other ways. Yeah.
Thank you all the panelists for your sharing about how your company is utilizing AI. And I'm also very happy to see you actually use it to make profits. So that's very, very meaningful. So this is a lifelong learning festival. So we will direct our question to the lifelong learning part of the theme. So we understand AI technology has been changing very, very fast in the recent years, from machine learning to deep learning, and recently generative AI. So this area, basically every day there are new technology comes out. So as an organization, we would like to understand how can you adapt to this changing demands in AI area, especially how can you make sure your employees, they can have the most recent, most relevant AI technology. To be specific, we want to understand how can you upskill and reskill your current employees so you can make sure your organization is at the cutting edge of this area. Maybe we start from Gerald. Yeah.
All right. Yes, happy to share in this area. So I suppose for this question, we will look at it from different groups of employees. So for instance, one group that we can look at is those without a tech background, and they're interested to pivot to a career in technology. And Visa has some experience in this area, whereby we have created the Visa Technology Traineeship Program. This is a 12-month traineeship program that aims at reskilling candidates who are in a non-tech field to take on a career in technology. And I would say that this is a fine example of a partnership between the private sector, the government, as well as the learning institutions. And how did all this come about is that we received funding from IMDA through the TESA CLT program, and they helped to provide us with the guidance in terms of structuring the program. We partner with NUS, ISS, as well as MP to conduct 6 months of classroom training for the trainees. And during these 6 months, this is where they will be skilled in terms of basic foundations of tech. And after they have completed the classroom training, they will join Visa for 6 months on-the-job training. And this is really during the on-the-job training whereby they get real-life experience and real-life application in terms of the tech skills that they have learned. In addition, we offer them all the AI tools that I mentioned earlier so that they can get exposure to the new ways of working as well. And as part of the OJT, our trainees are also given exposure to regional and global projects, and that helps them in terms of having that global mindset and the soft skills in terms of how do you collaborate across the different countries and regions. I'm very happy to note that right now we have taken in over 200 plus trainees, and we are in the process of hiring for our 5th cohort. And I have one good example of a success story of how a trainee has pivoted from non-tech into tech. And this is a colleague of mine. His name is Alejandro. Before joining the VTTP program, he was a musician. He performed in an a cappella group. And he developed an interest in software engineering, which is why he took part in the VTTP program, our very first cohort. So he went through 6 months of classroom training with NUS ISS, and then he did 6 months of OJT with Visa. And he did really well, which is why we offered him a perm job at the end of the traineeship. And he's now a software engineer with us. And what happens is that I remember this quote from him. He said that writing music is similar to writing code. Because you have a structure, you have a framework, and you apply your creativity around it. All right? And he has really progressed in terms of his career. So at the end of last year, he got promoted. Just this quarter, he received a Rising Star Award for the Singapore technology site. We have about 1,200 employees in Singapore Tech, and he's the quarterly winner. So we only give out 4 awards every year, and he's one of them in the latest quarter. And what's more, he is now pursuing a master's degree with NUS in AI systems. Wow. Yeah.
Wow, round of applause. What a great story. This is the most encouraging story I heard recently about students learning coding. It's also the first time I heard people thinking writing codes is like writing music. I will share this story with my students to inspire them learning coding. That's a very, very inspiring story. Thank you for the sharing, Jerald. Now maybe I move to Dr. Yang Fan. Can you share some of your organization's upskill and reskill experience?
Yeah, sure. So I think there are a lot of new in-demand skills. Actually, a lot of organizations have done a lot of research, try to analyze which are the new demand skills in different job roles, in different functions. So, for example, right, McKinsey or even Stanford Institute of Human-Centered Artificial Intelligence, in the morning, there was a professor did a sharing session. So a report generated by them saying that the top 3 in-demand skills in AI-related jobs are generative AI, large language models, followed by prompt engineering. But then what is also interesting is that some of the skills remain the same. So top in-demand skills remain the same in the last 5 to 10 years. So in AI-related jobs, that's Python programming, so it remains the same with or without Gen AI. And then so that's AI-related jobs, right? So if we look at non-AI-related jobs, it's very hard to tell which are the skills is new because it really depends on which function you are, which use cases it is. But then there are also non-changing AI skills, non-changing in-demand skills. For example, cognitive skills, for example, empathy, communication, critical thinking, social emotion skills, right? So these skills will remain to be the same. In fact, it will be more important. So back to the question, how do we encourage our own workforce or encourage our colleagues to continue to learn or pick up AI, is that we first have to manage the concerns over the change in the nature of work. So it's not that, I think many people share this same view. It's not that the job is going to be replaced. It's not. In fact, even if you look at 5 years later, the percentage of the job task that will be affected by AI is only 10% across most of the job roles. So majority of your tasks will remain the same. Even the ones that change, it's just that you use different tool to do it. So now back to different tool, right? So what they need to learn is to use different tool. So like doctor use different tools to do diagnosis. So call centers use different tool to do, voice-to-text transcription, and content generations roles, they use different tool to create the first draft of their, for example, news articles. So it's just different tool. So for them, we manage the risk, we address the concern, and then we equip them with more development opportunities so that they continue to feel that the jobs they are doing is meaningful. And then, in fact, with AI, they don't feel threatened because they have more time to look into more creative, more innovative job. So their job will become more interesting. And especially for the roles of AI creator and AI heavy users. So they are the roles that who will feel the change, but they are the roles that who should be encouraged to pick up new things. I think in the end, it's going to just going to help them. That's what I can share, yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Yang Fan, for your sharing. Now we move to Geraldine. I understand GXS is a new company. Probably you don't need to upskill your employee, right? Most of employees are very technology savvy. Maybe you just share with us in terms of the talent management in your company. Yeah. Thank you.
You're right in a way. And sometimes they harass me for bringing in tools as well. So I'm kept on my toes frequently. I think most of my panelists here have covered the main gist as well. But I guess for the non-technical roles, I'll go into a bit of a non-technical role because it's a shift in mindset and how you use the tools as well. It's not easy to give up the habits that you're so used to. I'll give you an example, right? So in the organization, we use everything on Google Drive, Google Slides, Google Doc, whatever. And people seem to always use Google to find their items. But recently, when we brought in an information retrieval, summarization, comparison tool, it's all in one place that you can literally chat with this information, this tool. But you notice that people still fall onto their old ways. They will still go to Google and search for their docs. And it's really it's a transition. It's not just over a 2-week or 2-month period. It requires them to see more of the capabilities, showing them day to day how it can save time as well. So what we have done is also done a pre-pilot survey, and in a few weeks' time, I'm going to do a post-pilot survey, basically to ask them, how has that saved your time? What have you used it for? But this would then show them that some of these tools actually are helping them in their day-to-day jobs. I think the other thing on non-technical roles that could evolve is also how they could embrace the thinking part of ethical considerations. There's a lot of people who are using what I call the offensive side of AI to do a lot, but not sure if how many people on the AI governance are focused on the AI governance, considering about the ethical considerations. So people like in compliance would have to equip themselves, would have to build up that knowledge of understanding the AI systems to help with the compliance to AI ethical considerations as well.
Thank you, Geraldine, for your sharing, and especially thank you for bringing up the AI ethics. I think this is also a hot topic in the recent years. So AI in the past is probably only interested in the technology industry, but now AI has been applied in all industries. So it becomes more and more important. So that's why AI ethics is getting a lot of attention in the recent year. I saw some very interesting questions from the audience, following up with our discussion just now. The most popular question is this one. I think this is a very interesting one. So the question is, should staff running daily ops also learn AI ML skills and use it to improve their process? Or we just leave it to the AI engineer, machine learning expert, data scientists? I think this is a very good question because a lot of companies, while they are hiring people, they may be wondering, because they already have existing ops people, they are doing their daily job, they are doing it very well. So the question is, if we want to adopt AI in our current operation, should we rely on the current ops people to teach them AI ML and let them adopt AI in their current operation? Or we hire some experts, data scientists, ML engineers. We let them develop AI system which can automate all the operation systems. So I think a lot of companies, they are having these struggles. So we would like to hear the thoughts from our panelists. Any volunteer?
I can start first.
Thank you, Geraldine.
Okay, so I think before we dive into this question, it's important to consider the maturity of your organization within this group of people that you're considering running the daily ops. One of the things that there's a spectrum of what we call AI ML skills as well. So, I mean, let's think about it as beginners, intermediate, advanced, for example. And my view is that for the people who are running the daily ops, you need to equip them to what we used to call citizen data scientists, right? You know, just enough to know, not really the intense coding, but rather using the tools to know where to debug some of maybe the SQL code, or just to run it in a Python script, for example. Just enough to help them with it. But if you're asking them to maybe come up with the whole thing, with the whole script, I don't believe that that's the way to go, because there will be tools. There are tools today already that actually creates those SQL scripts for you to input into another system like that.
Thank you. Thank you, Geraldine, for your insights. Dr. Yang Fan, you want to share your experience on this?
Yeah. Yes, I can share. So when I first look at the question, I feel like if you are talking about, you know, when we first start the idea or the initiative or design of the solution, then who do we need? Again, let me quote what has been shared in the morning, right? So it also has to be human-centric. So it also has to be user-centric. So my view is that we need to have both. But I agree with Geraldine's sharing is that we can't rely on only on ops team to create any AI solution by themselves. But at the same time, on the other side, we cannot also rely only on data scientists to create a tool that is going to be immediately useful for the ops people. You know, in the end, it's really a mix of team who is co-creating this solution. So my own experience, not only in Income, but also in other organizations, is that the solution that really fly off, is really take off, is a solution that we have a lot of buy-in from the user. So when the user believes that it's going to be useful, you don't really need to spend so much time that convincing them to believe what you believe, because the product itself already speak for themselves. So I think my answer in short is that we need both, but of course different roles are good at different things.
So we have approximately 11 minutes, right, to finish. But because we're the last session, the organizers told us that we can extend the time a little bit, because there's so many questions today. I'm really quite... okay, just to let you know, a few questions have been asked to Gerald. He can't answer. Just to let you know, one person asked, how would the visa deal with problem of hallucination? Gerald not going to answer that because he's not the techie involved. Okay, I'm going to wrap up with one final theme, right, which happens to be related to the issues raised by all three panels. Now, I will share with you my own experience, right? I'm a lawyer by training, but I went back to law school. I went back to the Polytechnic to study Python programming, fundamentals of data science. Then last year, I was granted an AI patent after 4 years. The transformation was really, it was a great learning journey for myself. Now, the last theme that we want to cover, and the reason why I shared that story with you is, doing well in AI is ultimately not a technology issue. Absolutely not about algorithmic performance, but about something else, right? So I'm going to invite the panel, right, in the last 10 minutes, right, to share their view in terms of how do their respective organization balance between the hard skills and then the soft skills. Then how do you manage this as part of your strategic talent management? Now, both are required, right? You require the techies, but you also require the business stakeholder who understand enough of the finance. It's a very difficult process. So I'd like to invite Gerald first to share his insight on how do we achieve that balance between hard and soft skill in the context of talent management strategy for your respective organization. So we'll move, followed Geraldine, and then lastly, Dr. Yang Fan. Then we end. Okay, Gerald, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Zaid. Yes, I agree that to be successful in the AI journey requires a fine blend of both the tech skills as well as the soft skills. So which is why Visa has a very comprehensive strategy in terms of our talent management approach. If we look at the employee's life cycle, we start with hiring. Visa has a very robust hiring process. We are looking beyond just technical skills or academic qualifications. In fact, for a number of roles, we are no longer requiring degree as a basic qualification. We will also accept the equivalent of the skill set or working experience. And during the interview process, we look out for candidates with strong technical skills, as well as soft skills, as well as those who are a cultural fit with Visa's leadership principles. For employees, during annual performance review, we assess them both in terms of the what, in terms of what they have achieved, what's the impact they have made. We also assess them in terms of the how. That means, how did they go about doing their job? How do they collaborate with other stakeholders? During promotion, we also look at the what and the how. And for promotion into senior roles, I think the how plays an even bigger part, because we want to know how do you lead your team, how do you motivate them, and how do you give feedback. And in Visa, we also have this very strong culture of continuous learning. If I may put it very simply, everybody is a learner, and everybody is also a teacher. We have made significant investment in Visa University, which is our corporate university that delivers training for all our employees. We collaborate with partners such as O'Reilly, LinkedIn Learning, and we offer more than 100,000 courses to our employees, which is available online as well as offline. We also have training opportunities that is very much driven by employees themselves. So for instance, we have knowledge tribes whereby employees who are interested in a particular topic, they'll get together, they'll learn from one another. We have also created roles such as the Gen AI ambassadors, and think about them as your Gen AI buddy in your function. These are the ones who are really the early adopters on Gen AI. They will help to teach their fellow colleagues in terms of how do you leverage on Gen AI to be more productive and work. And what's very important to note is that these Gen AI ambassadors are across all the different functions so that they could come up with use cases that are relevant to the function that they are in. All right? So a lot of opportunities for employees to learn and grow. And in fact, we also have employee interest groups such as the Toastmasters. We have an internal chapter of the Toastmasters in Visa, whereby the employee will gather once every month just to hone their skills, and they can do it during the office hours. And that is a soft skill that is good to have in terms of how do you learn to public speak. All right, so a lot of opportunities for learning. And I'm also very glad that because of what we have done to drive this culture of lifelong learning, Visa was awarded the Skills Future Employer Gold Award last year. And I really want to thank IMDA for the nomination and Skills Future for giving us the award.
Okay, so in the last 5 minutes, I'll invite Dr. Geraldine Wong to first share, right, how they manage the balance between hard and soft skill within your organization, and then followed by Dr. Yang Fang, then we wrap up. But if the organizers will allow us, right, actually there are more questions, but I'll be guided by the organizer. Okay, Geraldine, over to you.
I'll keep it short then. I mean, look, Jerald is very impressive with what he has. We don't have such resources. But I just want to bring up a point about soft skills, and in a banking and financially regulated area, the need for risk awareness is also very important, and this is something that soft skills is where we are most focused on. The technical stuff, you can replace a lot of your, what we call in the banking, first line, second line, third line, right? You can remove the first line, but the second line of defense, you still need to have that level of risk awareness, and it's both a quantitative as well as a qualitative skill that you need to balance. So I mean, I'll say it's really about encouraging a lot of this growth mindset within the organization, the learning culture, and it rubs off. I think between teams, Dr. Yang Fan mentioned about model risk, for example. There's a team that does model risk. They could be traditional, but as Gen AI comes along, then you're taking them on a journey as well to involve them in some of the risk considerations, and that's where they also pick up the AI tools and the adoption of that. So it's really about building a cross-functional team across the organization. And as you work on projects together, there's always opportunities to embed some of these AI tools into this journey as well.
Okay, Dr. Yang Fan, over to you.
So I have how many minutes? 2 minutes. Okay, so I keep it really very short. I think I just want to share our operating models within income to really balance soft skills and hard skills, right? So as I mentioned that I'm having a 90 COE. Well, if I look at the team members in my team, I think they are really good at hard skills, right? See, they are really technical. They can explain to you how transformer works and what is the architecture of a foundation model. They can very proficient in Python program, right? So then they are the people. But then we also need soft skills, as Geraldine also mentioned, like for example, when you run AI governance, when you try to design something for the user, then we need people who really understand what is the workflow, what is the business, what the user really want to solve, right? So we have the analyst, but the analyst is not within my NTCOE. They are actually sitting with the business. So then I borrow Geraldine's word again, is cross-function collaboration. So we don't balance the skill within one person. I think we all know that some people who are good at, most of the people are good at something. So we don't expect one person to have a very, very good balance between hard skill and soft skill. But we compensate this by collaboration. So we balance this within a team. So all of these AI initiatives that we are working on, we make sure that we have people who are from the business units. We have people from who can write the code. We have people who is managing the risk from the risk office, right? And then we have the people from the tech who is enabling us with cloud services, with the platforms. So by doing that, I think we have a good balance. It's really done by a team in income. Thank you.
All right, thanks very much. Okay, so I'm going to sort of wrap up on the key themes, right? And then I'm going to ask each of the speakers to just share a few words as their final conclusion. But before they share their respective views, I just want to highlight a few issues, right? Now, what you have learned today are real-life practical experiences. Now, one of the things that we hope we have shared with you is this issue of building skill set, hard skills and soft skills. So the concept of time to competency is very important, right? Time to competency. The second element is time to value, right? How much resources you need in order to build up and drive higher performance. So at the end of the day, my conclusion, before I invite each of the panel members to say few words, right? As short as possible, what's at the parting shot? Bear in mind that for today's session, we have looked at how to leverage on AI to drive higher performance, how to create value, and more importantly, how to manage people and resources and achieve that right balance. Okay, parting shot, Jerald, over to you first.
Okay, I think there was this recent IMF report which highlighted that Singapore is the top country in the world which is most prepared for the AI revolution. I think we have strong partnership from the government, from the private sector, as well as learning institutions like NUS. So I think we are all very lucky to be here in Singapore. We should make full use of the opportunities to upskill ourselves and to leverage on AI for us to uplift our capabilities.
All right, Geraldine, your parting shot.
If a musician can do it, what about us? Thanks for the example, Jerald.
Yang Fan?
So what I can share is that we are using this technology to solve problems. And in the world, there are so many pressing problems that we need to solve. And what we need to do is that we need to gather all sorts of intelligence. Human intelligence is one. artificial intelligence is another one. So I would just encourage everybody just pick up artificial intelligence so that we can solve the problems better and faster.
Okay, lastly, I invite my co-moderator.
Thank
Final
you,
thoughts and view.
Sure.
Dr. Ai Xin.
Thank you, Zaid. I feel I learned a lot of things through this session, especially through the sharing of Zaid from a lawyer, now can learn Python programming, and also the musician story. It's really very encouraging. So I think I also see many of my students, they are from business background, from finance background, but they can take technology I will not say it very easily, but it is possible. I think the reason is now technology is become easier and easier. It's kind of like more user-friendly for everybody to acquire it. It's not like limited to the technology people. And especially recent years, based on the generative AI tools, it becomes more and more easy for people from all industries to pick up technology. So that's my main takeaway. I think the boundary between technology and non-technology are become more and more blurry. Yeah. Thank you.
So thanks very much. Okay, for those who have remaining questions, I'm very confident my panelists will stay behind. There's at least 6 questions we couldn't answer. We'll stay behind to answer the question. So over to the organizer.
Thank you very much to our panelists. And I think they really did not disappoint. They've certainly given us a lot of value through their very practical examples. And we can all take away ideas of how to use AI for better performance. And of course, I cannot close this without saying, well done to Alejandro. Jerald, please extend our very best to him. All of us now know their name, from a musician to a coder. I mean, fantastic, right? So again, thank you to our audience for being here and for your amazing participation. We really had a lot of questions. Thank you very much for being with us at NUS FutureWork 2.0. Do take the time to tell us what you liked or disliked and how we can do better. So we've come to the end of our event. We trust that you had a fantastic time with us. And one last reminder, if you do not need your lanyards, as you leave the room, you can drop them in the boxes outside. Support our sustainability move. And thank you, everybody, for being here. Till the next time, have a great evening. There is still some coffee, I think, and maybe some food. Enjoy yourselves. Bye, everyone.